I went to college at Northern Kentucky University, and although I dropped out, I spent a couple years there. I'd enjoy going to some of the basketball games, but what we were missing was a football team, so I'm starting one. I used to have to cross the Ohio River into Cincinnati to see some football, but now I've brought it over to the Kentucky side. And I will take this new program all the way from the bottom of college football up to the top. For this rebuild though, I want to do something different. So I'll have full control of building this roster like a coach, but I'll have to spectate the games instead of playing. I also want to recruit pretty regionally, meaning Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana are going to get a lot of my attention. And then being a new D1 school, Conference USA was the only one that accepted us. For our first season, we basically just built a team of FCS transfers, with Andre Johnson, the sophomore tight end, being our best one. Then redshirt junior Austin Travers is going to be our starting quarterback, but if we go in and look at his stats, you're going to see he has 60 speed, and his best throwing accuracy is deep accuracy, but he can't hit his short throws. I've already decided I'm sick of him, so Bobby Schmermer, he reminds me of Bobby Schmurda, he is going to be the gym 3-star that we're going after. 86 throw power, not really accurate either, but I still think he could be good for us. Then out of Frankfort, Kentucky, using those regional pipelines, we're going to go after another 3-star gym. This kid could be a good receiver, could be a good tight end. I've put some 4-stars on our board as well, even recruiting out of Tennessee. We have a good pipeline there too. We're just trying to stay in the region. Our first game is going to be going across the Ohio River at Cincinnati. If anybody will be our main rival, this is it. I watched a lot of college games at Nippert Stadium whenever I attended Northern Kentucky University. And that was when the Bearcats were good, when they went undefeated in the regular season. So I saw a lot of teams get embarrassed, like what's happening here. It has not been a fun one for fans of the Norse to watch. Northern Kentucky's only been able to score 7, giving up 49. And before this one even ended, it got worse for us. With Austin Travers going 8 for 27. Yes, 8 for 27, 3 interceptions. You can see why I want to move on from him. And as this season goes on, he will still have an opportunity to bounce back from that, playing against some weaker schools in Conference USA, but I have a feeling that we might go winless this entire season. Still though, we have to see what happens in our home opener against New Mexico State. We're going to get to play in Highland Heights at our home stadium. This stadium is named after former NKU president James Votruba. He unfortunately passed away this summer, so we wanted to respect him by having the stadium named after him. And over on the sideline, I'm getting ready for this game against New Mexico State, where we can't fumble the ball like this again. Something needed to change offensively in this matchup, so I brought out my favorite formation, Wildcat. It did us no good. We just got stopped on a 4th and 3. We have scored 3 points. This team's just no good. I simply had to accept that we were going to get embarrassed in front of our home fans, even though they showed out. And it's such a shame, because look at this on-campus stadium, man. It's beautiful. We had all of these fans packed out for this game. I was not expecting this type of show out for our first game as a program, but they clearly wanted to see if we had anything to offer. As this season goes on, I'm sure things are only going to get worse for the Norse. But one thing we are going to be able to do is get some of these 4-stars on a visit pretty soon and hard sell on them, but it's going to be a visit during a bye week because I don't think we'd win a game. Now, I am fully aware that after this season, stuff like brand exposure is going to fall a lot because we're in Conference USA, the worst conference we could be in besides maybe the MAC. So I'm not sure if they're even going to be impressed with our campus when they step foot on it, but we signed Sean DeVries, our first 3-star gem. When sitting here building out our board too, I'm trying really hard to find guys that care about stuff like proximity to home, because if we don't, then they're most likely going to transfer. That number of players isn't as high as you might think it would be though, which is why eventually we have to add players to our board that care about playing time. I don't like doing that because even though we're awful, we have to guarantee that they're going to see the field. I can do that for Tyrone Westfall. The 4-star decided that despite us starting 0-5 without winning any of these games, he wants to give Northern Kentucky a chance. That was an unbelievable poll. Apparently he wanted to get out of Memphis, Tennessee. For some of the other 4-stars on our board, I don't know if we're going to be able to close out these battles. We'd be spending like all of our NIL budget on just a few guys. And I can guarantee you will not get excited about Kelvin Thomas, the receiver out of Louisville, Kentucky, where I'm living, because he only has 82 speed. Ultimately, you have to start looking around for some 2-stars. And Mafa Ayu, the weirdest name I think I've ever seen out of Louisville, has 92 throw power and way better throwing stats than what we'd be getting out of Bobby Schmermer. We've almost won the battle for him, but he is a deal breaker because he is currently scared to compete for playing time with the 2-star from Kentucky, so that lets me know this is who we need to target. That was a discovery I was not expecting while trying to get through the rest of the first season, and how on earth have we been able to get a second 4-star to come up to Northern Kentucky? Listen, I love living in this great state, but convincing some of these high-profile prospects that they should also live here has been something I didn't think we were going to do. As the year goes on, we signed a 4-star right guard. We obviously have Elijah Addy. We have Tyrone Westfall. And we're not going to get Bobby Shermer unless no one else pursues him. But if we move past the couple of prospects that we're not going to win out on, there's a lot of other talent that's going to be coming into this Norse side. Of course, the 2-star quarterback, he is still going to be a big part of this team potentially. And then, of course, a lot of other 2-stars that probably have a pretty low ceiling. With 4 games left in this first season, Louisiana Tech beat us 51-0. We're about to play Western Kentucky, an in-state opponent. We still have to go at Kentucky as well. But there's no hope for us. We're sitting at the bottom of Conference USA below teams like Missouri State and Delaware that just moved up to the FBS level. It's our first year as a program though, so just give us a break. With a 16-20 loss to Western Kentucky, this could be a team that we beat next season. Now, one thing that will be pretty important is what type of coach I'm going to be. Currently, we're sitting as a recruiter, but I could change up my archetype in the future. I'm not sure how far I want to go down this tree. What I really want to do is become a talent developer, but in order to unlock this, we have to have 2 players drafted in the first round. If we're ever going to produce some first-round players, then guys like Mafa Ayu, the 2-star quarterback, are going to have to develop. We're going to have to somehow convince some players with elite development to commit to the Norse. As you can see, we finished out the season 0-12. There was just nothing to get excited about this year. I knew this was how the first season being an FBS program was going to go. We didn't have a football team until this year, and if we would have won a game, it would have been a shock. That's what we're going to be chasing in season number 2. I also have the opportunity to get some coordinators in here that will help out. We're just building from the ground up, even if it includes signing a lot of 2-stars. For the Heisman Trophy winner, that went to Kevin Jennings. But our punter punted so much that he won the Ray Guy Award. We already have something in our trophy room. He did this as a 1-star, as a 66 overall with 68 kick power. Averaging almost 43 yards per punt doesn't make much sense to me, but we'll take it. We have a trophy. For our quarterback situation, Austin Travers, he could have thrown more picks than he did. Clearly, he didn't have a good year though. Spencer Barkley got injured after averaging 2.6 yards per carry. And I don't think I can sit here and hype up these receivers either, though Andre Johnson, our best player on this team, he only had 1 touchdown. He also loves this team so much that he doesn't have a deal breaker. He is going to be here for all 3 years of his career. His skill caps are uncapped. I just don't know what the computer's going to progress. That's right. On top of doing this on the hardest difficulty, I've decided that I'm just going to let training results be completely auto. The computer can handle it. So these player dev traits matter more than anything else because currently our facilities aren't going to be that good to progress them. We've got impact so far. I want to see elite on at least 1 player, but the 4-star dev traits were really disappointing. But after removing those 2 guys from our board, you're going to see there's not many battles that we've lost out on this year. We just don't have great dev traits. Even our 2-star quarterback is going to be normal development. I think we're just going to have to go hard in the transfer portal. It doesn't even make sense to me that we could get Butch Jones as our OC. But it'd be really nice, and it seems like he wants to help out Northern Kentucky. As for our defensive coordinator, I don't think Levi Kaufman is as exciting, but he's a tactician, so he could help us win a little bit sooner. And that's going to be the final move that we make to conclude this first season. We did have a couple tight ends that wanted to transfer out of our program, but that's basically it for guys that are leaving in the transfer portal. A lot of the guys that are departing from the Norse ended up graduating. They were truly using their scholarship to get their free degree here. Now it's time to enter on the transfer portal and see if there's anybody that would be interested in playing for the Norse. As you can see, a guy like running back CJ Hester out of Cincinnati, Ohio would be a great fit for the program. And since Northern Kentucky is so desperate just to put a decent product out there on the football field next year, we're going after some seniors through the transfer portal with some young guys mixed in as well. CJ Hester, it seems like it's going to be a tough close. And here's the thing, I could always just guess his hard sell, but there's 3 different things it could currently be, so if we get this wrong, then we're not going to win the battle. It turns out we knew exactly what CJ Hester wanted, which is why he's coming to Northern Kentucky. And as insurance, in case we didn't get him, I brought senior running back Dallin Hayden back to the state of Kentucky. We're going to scroll through some of these dev traits. I love seeing star dev on Raylan Wilson. That's a good start to some of these commits, though Bowling Green took away the linebacker. And let's just say it was a good thing that I left Bobby Shermer on our board because nobody else went after him, so he's still committed. He is star development, and he's actually going to be better for us in the future than this 2-star. For our class rank, we've been able to out-recruit every single team in Conference USA, which should show a couple years from now. But look at the overall difference between these 2 quarterbacks. Mafa Ayu comes in as a 77, so he might still start for us this year. Even though Bobby Shermer also cares about playing time, he's a 68. It puts me in a tough spot. At least we know Austin Travers won't be seeing the field. Plus 17 might be the largest I've ever seen, but Finley Alford is still not useful at all. If we go over to these training results, you're going to see Raylan Wilson becomes our best player. Some of our other best players include Dallin Hayden at running back, which kind of takes away the purpose of getting CJ Hester. He's going to have to wait a little bit to get onto the field. And then Carter Bell, the senior receiver, is up to a 78 overall. Andre Johnson's going to be a 75 overall tight end, but for having almost no skill caps, he did not progress the way that I thought he would. Part of that might have to do with my coach abilities, though. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go down the recruiter pathway still. We have 92 skill points to spend, and at least for now, I want to make sure quarterbacks are easier to scout, so are running backs. Then I've decided that we want to become the portal king and have magnetic personality for wide receivers and tight ends. It's just an important position for us to go in. Then if you look at the abilities of some of our coordinators, it covers most of our bases for scouting other positions. I guess we could still scout offensive linemen a little bit quicker. Outside of that, though, I'm not sure what else I really want to spend on. Maybe we get some starting interest from QBs. It's an important position, but I wanted to spend as little as possible so later down the line we can save up coach points and go down talent developer. If I'm going to try and sign 35 players a season, though, it means that I need to have a lot of roster spots available, so I got to cut a lot of players from this team. With this team coming in as a 71 overall, I think we made all of the right decisions. I mean, we took this team to a whole other level. We got some good transfers. The quarterback decision, though, this is what's going to be hard. Bobby Shermer, we don't want to transfer since his accuracy can completely max out. He cares about playing time, but this season, Mafa Ayu gives us a better chance at winning some of these games. His deal breaker is brand exposure, so over time, that's going to decrease, and he's going to want to transfer. Plus, he can't get much better. So the idea I'm coming up with in my head is we're just going to switch between the two quarterbacks throughout this season, depending on the opponent that we're playing, because obviously, we want to make sure that we win a couple games. We want to make that a reality, but at the same time, we want to develop for our future. I mean, you've seen our schedule. It's not like it's going to be anything too crazy. Looking at the state of Kentucky, there's a couple of prospects we're going to be able to target. I've even decided to be extra bold and throw a 5-star in David Lane on here, though I don't think we're going to be able to sign him. It was just worth a chance. There are some gems like this kid from Indiana or this kid from Hodgenville, Kentucky that I'd like to get, even though he only has 82 speed. You can always move a receiver to tight end, and do we think that we're about to pick up our first win? But before we finish the rest of this video, a word from Rocket Money, today's video sponsor, who has saved me from wasting a ton of money. Last year, after college football ended, I found out I was still being charged every month for a subscription service that I had started all the way back in September. I literally signed up for the free trial. I used it to watch one game, and then I forgot to cancel it, and I would have never known about it if it wasn't for Rocket Money. They are an all-in-one personal finance app that helps you lower bills, cancel subscriptions, and manage your money better. When it comes to canceling unwanted subscriptions, once you connect your bank account, Rocket Money identifies all of your subscriptions on one list. And from there, you can select the ones that you don't want anymore, and Rocket Money may even be able to help you cancel with just a few taps. From personal experience, just being aware of your finances can help you save a ton of money too. Rocket Money has helped its customers save up to $740 a year whenever you're using all of the app's premium features. So why not take control of your finances today? Go to rocketmoney.com/Bordeaux to get started for free. If you do, you're probably going to be shocked at a subscription or two you had no idea was still active. But now we can go ahead and get back to the rest of this video. Since we're facing off against an FCS school, I'd like to think so. On 3rd and 4, though, Bobby Shermer can't find his receiver, which is why we are sending our freshman kicker out there. The kick was almost blocked, but he's going to miss it anyway. Luckily, we've been able to force a 3rd and 18. I'm expecting us to get a sack and get the football back. Damian Shanklin was not going to let that slide, and one first down would seal this game. Bobby Shermer took that snap from a very low stance. What I decided as a coach, though, was we are going to have to go for it on 4th and 3. We've taken it down to almost 2 minutes left. And Bobby, you can't run backwards. You can't run backwards. Maybe it was not in our best interest to have him out there. I think we could have done better with the 2-star. Now we're giving them all the time in the world to complete the pass. And NKU might not win. I really believe this was going to be our first one of the season. Unless it's not over yet. We do have 6 sacks in this game. We're trying to get them out of field goal range. And here we go. 3rd and 13. Sending 4, 5. They find a tight end, but it's not enough. Now, what we have done is we've basically just decided we're headed to overtime. We did not use a timeout. I don't understand that, but just watching Bobby Shermer take all these snaps, I want him off of the field. His stance is genuinely frustrating me. He sits so low that I don't want to watch it. Guess what we got to deal with here in overtime, though? We handed it off on 2nd down. We're watching him try and lead us to victory, but it's 3rd and 11. And this has to be a good play. Come on, throw, on the run, caught. What a play. Never mind, it doesn't matter how he takes these snaps. I got my faith in Bobby Shermer. CJ Hester might have gone nowhere with that carry. He got another opportunity. It is the same story though, setting us up for a 3rd and goal. Big play right here. He throws it, and it should have been picked. You know, it's really looking like Northern Kentucky's not going to win a game. We can still make a quarterback switch, which is something we will definitely do. But outside of that, look at our defensive line going to work in front of this home crowd. Can they get another sack here? That would change everything. It would change everything. Damian Shanklin just got his 4th sack of the day. And after icing them, this kicker has to hit from the logo. It's about a 55-yarder, and it looks like it is going to miss to the right. There it is. The Northern Kentucky Norse have won their first game as a program. That was honestly all that I cared to achieve this year. Outside of that, we're going to probably lose every single game. In this one against Cross River rival Cincinnati, I decided that I was still going to start freshman Bobby Shermer out there. But as you can see, he wasn't able to do enough for us. He got us close to a win, just not enough. And seeing that next up on our schedule, we have an 0-2 New Mexico State, this is where I can really make a change. We don't want Bobby Shermer to transfer out, so we still got to give him playing time. But at the same time, Mafa Ayu has better stats that could lead to us getting some wins. Well, to my surprise, with back-to-back road games, we're coming back 3-1. That is right. We've been able to win both of these games, and that is with our new starting quarterback, Mafa Ayu. He has us going on the road to Western Kentucky with a chance to be sitting at 4-1. This is something I didn't believe would be possible until we got to like seasons 4, seasons 5, season 6. And after a 55-yard run from CJ Hester, we're on the 5-yard line. That was near the end of the game where we're trying to set up to just end it. Running back Dallin Hayden has 22 carries for 66 yards, so he's definitely gotten a lot too. But for whatever reason, we weren't aggressive there, and I guess it's because we can always take our 3. Western Kentucky would do absolutely nothing with the ball either, just held to a quick 4 and out, which means we're going to get the win. Our defense came strong in this game. The quarterback switch has gone far better than I ever thought it would. If we start to look at some of these recruits though, we have a lot of them on a visit this next week against Delaware, and that could be the difference maker on whether or not we win some of these battles. Currently, the Blue Hens are 1-4. We're 4-1. They've not won a conference game. We've won 3. And I always say the team overall calculations aren't a good indication of what each roster looks like. So we're going to view Delaware's, and theirs is a lot worse than ours still. So maybe they are a 52. With all this success, though, our starting quarterback wants to transfer. So he wants to leave already. Even after taking down the Blue Hens 43-13, and I could see us losing to Kentucky, then Liberty. So we might have back-to-back losses coming up. That result didn't get us any commits either. We might as well see what happens at Kroger Field. And all I have to say from what happened here is, why can't Kentucky's offense play like this in real life? That game wasn't competitive. It wasn't worth talking about. In fact, it was also the reason Angel Booker decided to commit to the Wildcats, but we picked up a 4-star the same week, so I'm not too upset. We got our right tackle anyway, and we might still be able to get 5-star David Lane. The hard part for us with a lot of these prospects is our hard sells are not good at all, so we're not gaining that many points. We no longer have a visit to use on some of these players. I'm sure Tennessee is going to gain very quickly. And if we just take a quick look at our conference standings, we're currently sitting on top of everybody else, but this might change. See, we're about to face off against the Flames on the road, who are typically pretty good. And I already know that that game came with a loss, but the next week, we signed 5-star David Lane out of Memphis. He didn't go to Tennessee. Now, the only possible explanation for that is we beat Kennesaw State, who was our opponent after Liberty, which we did after losing 38-10. We lost 38-10 in back-to-back weeks, but it's okay. We're still sitting at second place in our conference, and this game against Missouri is going to be a big deal. If we can just beat the Bears, we already took down New Mexico State, so we'd have the tiebreaker. We should be in the conference championship game. And I love the fact that this is going to be taking place at James Vote-Ruba Stadium, so we're going to have the home field advantage. There's no telling how this one is going to finish out either, because we're currently trailing by 3, but we've been able to drive into the red zone. I would obviously prefer if we could just avoid overtime, but I think after taking that sack, it's probably what we're going to be headed to, unless this is a miraculous throw that's caught. We still need to drill this kick as well, but the freshman can handle that. Missouri State just has 3 timeouts and 48 seconds to potentially get about 40 yards. If our defense shows no signs of resistance, we're gonna fall to Missouri State. And that'd be awful, because I love the fact that we're 6-3. I love the fact that we could be in the Conference USA Championship. But it's not looking too good for the Norse. The home crowd is really quiet, too. I get being disappointed that you just have to sit there and watch your team fall apart, but we needed something from them. And even here, they're not that pumped up while they're trying to settle for a field goal. They've gotten the loudest that they've been all day for this kick, but I'm not sure if it's gonna make a difference. It's in. So Mafa Ayu has his opportunity to get us back tied up, but he would have had to complete a deep pass, and he did. Instead, he just went down, so this is going to be the final play of the game. That is going to go for like 10 yards. I'm not a fan of that decision right there. I'm going to have to chew him out in the locker room. And what I'll say is, after losing 3 of our last 4 games, I think it's time that Bobby Shermer gets his opportunity to go back out there on the field. I really just don't want him to transfer away, so we're going to try and keep him happy, though it is going to burn any chance of him getting a red shirt. And it turns out he couldn't even stay healthy for those final 2 matchups. Actually, it turns out that my depth chart change just didn't save, because I put him in as our starting quarterback and he didn't play. So for those last 2 games, we weren't dealing with him. We finished 7-5. And that is good enough to get us in a 5-way tie for 2nd place in our conference, though I don't think we're the team that gets the spot in the conference championship game. As for our recruiting board, we ended up losing out on the gym cornerback from Somerset, Kentucky to the Wildcats. He wanted to stay there instead of coming up to the Northern Kentucky spot in the state. I get it. Angel Booker, we already know that he was going to leave us. We saw that earlier on in the year when we got Robbie Sharp. And then there's 5-star Matthew Boutique. He is Platinum Adrenaline. I don't even know what that does in his ability, but I would love to find out. The kid from Pennsylvania currently has a decent shot at coming to our school because we're the only one that is heavily pursuing him. I gotta say, the boosters putting the money in behind the Norse have been super powerful because we just signed 2 5-stars in season number 2, beating out Pittsburgh for that kid as well. He didn't want to stay in his own state, while Eli Holstein won the Heisman Trophy. It's just crazy to even think about. We're going to get our bowl game against Southern Miss. They have the same colors as we do. But the most important thing we can do right now is check the dev traits of the 10 players that have committed. We already got a 3-star guard that has star development on the 5-star running back as well. You just absolutely love to see it. Star dev on David Lane, the 5-star linebacker, and we even got star dev on Taj Quick. Those guys will progress pretty quick for us. Let's see what happens against Southern Miss, though. I am not going to roll out our backup quarterback. I'm going to stay with Mafa Ayu. Bobby Shermer's deal breaker is right where it needs to be, so we could still get him to redshirt this year, as long as he doesn't see the field in this game, which is great because we want to give him an extra season to improve his accuracy. I can't believe that we could even go for 8 wins this season, and I thought, why not just pull out the retro jerseys for this game? If you've been watching this channel for a while, then you would know I actually created a team in NCAA Football 14 with those helmets. It's cool to see somebody else did it. They make for a good use out of that throwback logo, and we are currently on defense. We've been able to hold Southern Miss to just 10 points in this game, but we still have to prevent them from scoring 1 final touchdown, which we could have done. I wish that ball was intercepted, but they're still not in a good spot. 45 seconds left, 4th and 3. They go with the halfback toss, and we can't make the tackle in time. That was a lot of effort for them to just get a 1st down, though. So I really have a lot of faith in our defense to still close this one out, even if they're at midfield. This is nuts. Our 2nd year as a program, because we use the portal well, we've been able to win a bowl. And they're wasting so many downs to stop the clock. You might as well just start sending up some prayers to the end zone, because that's the only thing that's going to work for them. They did it. They're not going to catch it, though. There was a split second there where I thought we might get mossed. We didn't, though, which means NKU taking home the bowl game. I'm very happy with 8-5. And I just hope that we can continue to improve every season as we set off on our path to eventually win a national championship. That will take a long time for sure. Mafa Ayu might not even be with us next season because I think he can see the writing on the wall that we want to start Bobby Shermer in the future anyway. So we'll see what he decides. Dallin Hayden rushed for over 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns. He was amazing, and he's going to be replaced by CJ Hester, who's going to be a senior next year. Good stuff on that side of the ball. Freshman Tyrone Westfall, the former 4-star, he had 5 touchdowns, 2nd most out of our receiving core. Then you'll see Andre Johnson. He's getting closer and closer to having 1,000 yards as a tight end. But freshman Lex Cyrus, who we got out of the transfer portal, has been the most impactful player that we've had so far. And I think he's going to develop to a really high overall. Now, on the ability side of things, another thing I'm starting to want to explore is the strategist tree instead of talent developer, just because we only have to win 4 bowl games to unlock this, and we could have visits making a bigger impact and also lower deal breaker thresholds on some of our players. That would prevent guys from transferring out, which we're going to need to be a dominant force in the future. It's only our punter that wants to transfer this year, and he's going to be gone, which is fine with me. Raylan Wilson's going to be a 3rd round pick. If he was just a little bit better, he could have been a 1st round pick, but we missed out on that. It is what it is. We also had an 84 overall get drafted in the 7th round. I've never seen that before, but that's where Tyson Ruffins went. And then Devin Jackson, another transfer, went in round 7. After that last season, we have 600 hours to spend in the transfer portal period. Jaden Patterson wants to come here. So does Amarian Peterson. He's worked wonders for us in some other rebuilds on the channel. It seems like we should be able to get him as well. As we go up to Jaden Patterson, the only 4-star transfer on our board, I am going to completely guess his hard sell just based off of the information that we have. It's a pretty big risk to take, but I think either way we'll be okay because we have so many transfers on our board. So no matter what, we're going to have a pretty solid team compared to the rest of our conference. Well, we actually guessed it correctly and we had Jaden Patterson on a visit, but it's not going to be enough to jump up to 1st place because we don't have a pipeline in the state of Georgia. We also just don't have the NIL budget to afford him because we already spent it on getting 2 5-stars to commit to Northern Kentucky. The strong safety with his star development would have been nice. It's just another player that Kentucky has taken away from us, but at the same time, we got Amarian Peterson as one of our running backs. We were able to get Micah Strickland. He is a channel favorite back from the FIU series. But this star corner chose Arkansas over us, so Jacoby Pascal decided he would rather play for Sam Pittman than me, even though I guess I've also been controlling Arkansas throughout that series. I'd say there wasn't anything too exciting in that class. Paul Webster was the transfer quarterback we signed with his impact development. It was a top 30 class though, mainly because of those 5-stars, and it gets us the top class in the conference with ease. It looks like as a transfer, Paul Webster comes in as a 75 overall. Player progression is going to be very interesting to shape up this quarterback room. And you know what? Right before we get into training results, we're going to start to go down this motivator pathway. It'll be interesting to see how solid those off-season training boosts are. At the moment, all we have to do to unlock talent developer now is get 2 players drafted in the 1st round. Theoretically, our offensive line and all of our receivers and tight ends should have improved more than they would have, though none of these players have gotten up to an overall that would get them drafted in the 1st round. Bobby Shermer is the one player whose progression I was going to follow super closely with his star development. It looks like the freshman, now that he's got a red shirt, is going to have a little boost to accuracy, but his stats must have gone into something else. Turns out it was his +5 speed, which I can't even use since we have to spectate him. In our running back room, you're going to see Amarian Peterson and CJ Hester will both be rated higher than our 5-star incoming freshmen. That's going to put me in a hard spot where we still need to make sure that Matthew Booty is getting on the field because he cares about playing time, and we definitely do not want this 5-star to transfer out because he could become the best running back in the country. I mean, all around, our roster's just gotten better. When it comes to every single starter, I'd say at most positions, everyone's starting's like a 78 overall, between a 78 and an 84. It's a pretty solid range to have, especially inside Conference USA, where if I scroll through all of these team overalls, they're sitting at like a 60. 66 might be the highest with Middle Tennessee. The thing is though, if we were to compare their roster to ours is better. So we have the best team on paper inside our conference. We're just going to be starting our worst quarterback on our roster, Bobby Shermer, because he's got 4 years to develop into a beast. I'm excited to travel an hour down the road and see how he does at Kentucky. This is a game that will always be played at Kroger Field until we can beat them. And I just don't think we have what it takes this year. To my surprise though, it's been a defensive battle which has kept us in this one. And that's how we're only trailing by 2 points with a minute 10 seconds left. Bobby Shermer gets the throw out, but it's going to be intercepted by the Wildcats, and that does it. It just hurts to see because I know we've not played the best offensive game, but we had a real opportunity. Instead, Mark Stoops, still at Kentucky, just runs out the rest of the clock. And the longer the season goes on, the more players that are going to want to transfer away from the Norse. Fortunately for us, after we play Kentucky and Cincinnati, our schedule will only get easier, and we actually won at Nippert Stadium 23-16, so we have beat our Cross River rivals. Bobby Shermer took them down. And if you look at the rest of our schedule, like I was saying, it is only going to get easier for us throughout it. We're playing against schools like Delaware, who haven't had as much success as we have moving up to the FBS level. And it does help having receivers like sophomore Left Cyrus, who puts up some pretty strong numbers. I think games like that are the reason that we're able to have multiple 4-star receivers on our board that would consider playing for the Norse. As you can see, we even have 5-star Devin Gums up here. We don't know what his hard sell is yet because he's not entered the top 5. But as the year goes on, I'm hoping that we can somehow have enough NIL money to pick him up along with those 4-stars. Since this matchup determines the best small school in the state of Kentucky, I've decided it's pretty important, though we have already passed up Western Kentucky pretty easily Look at that. I'm talking about the touchdown CJ Hester just scored, of course, putting us up 38-0. It is nice to see how far the Norse have come in such a short period of time, but we have to see how the rest of the year goes first before I'll get too ahead of myself. One of my new favorite things to do on recruits whenever there's two hard sells that I can't decide between is for one of them, I do the soft sell, the one that I don't want it to be, and then we're going to sway with the hard sell that has more powerful school grades, hoping that this is what they actually care about. That's all I'm doing at the moment, just going to be a lot of recruiting going on in the background as we sim through a lot of this year. And over time, George Stewart has unfortunately locked us out, so that 4-star receiver, we're going to lose out on. He was a gadget. It's one of my favorite archetypes to target, but you're going to see that we've been able to sign 4 different 4-stars still. We're in a battle against Pitt, trying to take this kid away from them. Ole Miss also got this receiver, which means we're not getting a receiver in this class unless it's a 3-star, but I think even the athlete that we're going after at the moment, this guy's only got 81 speed. Yeah, he's going to be better as a tight end. As for the only 5-star on our board, though, he is on a visit as we have won 7 in a row against Missouri State. This is our chance to get revenge for last year. And the pop-ups come up. It is Devin Gums. We've been able to sign a 5-star again. That is sweet. This entire season has been going really well for us, which has really surprised me. I mean, New Mexico State gave us a little bit of a scare, but outside of that, we're dominating. All of it with freshman quarterback Bobby Shermer as well. So we should be keeping him around. His accuracy should continue to go up, especially this next offseason. He has been a special find for this program, and we've basically locked ourselves into the conference championship game. At least I thought so, until Louisiana Tech beat us and gave us our first conference loss. We're going to stay in first place, but we're about to play Liberty, who could knock us out of there, and if FIU continues to win, we would completely miss out. It's not the most ideal spot to be in because we're going to have to play well at home against Liberty, against a team that is typically pretty good, but look at how Bobby Shermer has handled the Flames. In a torrential downpour, your Northern Kentucky Norse have been able to hold them to 3 points, and even if we don't manage to pick up this 3rd and 14, all we had to do was hand it off. What we were looking to do was take it to the 2-minute warning before going up by 3 possessions. And from there, it wasn't hard for us to close out the game and get the win. With a spot in the conference championship locked up, what happens at Jacksonville State doesn't matter. Either way, we have had our best season in program history. I know it's only been a short 3 years, and we're playing against FIU. We went 10-2 this season, that close loss to Kentucky and a close loss to Louisiana Tech being the only 2 games that we dropped. Meanwhile, the Panthers were able to go 9-3, so they also had a pretty solid season, but on paper, I'm almost 99% sure we have the better roster. Now, that does not guarantee wins, but just take a look at our highest overall player, and then take a look at their highest overall player. Both of us have 88s, except the drop-off from Will Wilson, their quarterback, is pretty sharp. That lets us know, though, that we're going to be facing the most talented kid that we've played all season. Well, just off of the fact that I saw Matthew Booty was getting a lot of carries in this game lets me know how this one went. We didn't even need starting running back CJ Hester. We were using our backup as we won 41-13. I'm sorry to FIU, but we just deserve this a little bit more here up at Northern Kentucky. CJ Hester was able to go for 147 yards, 2 tutties on the ground, while Bobby Shermer threw for 253 yards, 2 touchdowns. We still have to be able to maintain it, but currently it's feeling like we are just outgrowing our conference. Now, our bowl game is going to be against Colorado. This will be a good test for us to see how good we are against a Power 4 program. We've not played one in a while, and hire staff, don't tell me that we lost a coordinator. We lost both of them. Butch Jones found a better job, but it gives us an opportunity to hire a 42 overall one. Bryant Vincent, I'm going to try and get him. The other option is Ty Davidson, who is just an elite recruiter. The problem with that is it's only going to give us like +5 more hours a week on guys. It's not worth it. And then from a defensive coordinator perspective, we got multiple good options, but I would love to get the guy that is mainly a tactician. It's also early National Signing Day, and outside of this 4-star running back from Paintsville, Kentucky, we have been able to sign every other kid that is left on our board, so we can start looking through some of these dev traits. Hope that we see an elite dev at some point. Devin Gums is only going to have impact. Pretty disappointed with that class so far, but there's still the transfer portal period. With 2 minutes left in this game, we're currently all tied up at 17. I'm happy with the way we're playing. You could say it's just the Independence Bowl. No one cares that much, but this is our chance to really prove ourselves. Deion Sanders is always going to field a competitive team for us to face, but we're currently keeping it close on a big 3rd and 4. Bobby Shermer is going to find his tight end. The senior hangs on to the football and we can start to run. CJ Hester's touched the ball 19 times for 59 yards. It's not been a great performance, but we needed him to catch it. That sets up another 3rd and short. We're probably going to look over in Andre Johnson's direction. The senior tight end hangs on, and now we can just settle for a field goal or maybe a touchdown as he goes to the 2. I can't believe what Bobby Shermer has turned into as only a freshman. We still have to hit the field goal, though, to win the game, and the refs say it's in. A few years from now, if NKU can keep this up, they might be getting an invite to a bigger conference. But there are a couple players on this roster that have started for us, like Dunham, that are most likely going to transfer, which could make us take a step back. Now, it seems like we didn't get the offensive coordinator that we wanted. I also can barely say our defensive coordinator's last name. I did not realize how close it was, but Hitzkler is going to be our defensive coordinator. I looked around. Ty Davidson, again, he's an elite recruiter, only an elite recruiter. We don't really want him. We're going to go after this strategist. And with no other offers, he is forced to live in Kentucky. What a season for this team. It might not have been as good of a season as Pittsburgh had, winning a national championship. That's something I rarely see. But Bobby Shermer was already showing some flashes of greatness. Then on the rushing side of things, CJ Hester had 16 touchdowns on the ground. Our freshman running back had 12. Obviously, CJ Hester got a lot more yards. And then Tyrone Westfall, one of the first 4-stars we ever signed, he was our leading receiver in this group. Outside of the bowl game, though, Andre Johnson didn't play much for us. Luke Harpring got injured. That's why he wasn't there for that game. The junior is going to come back for another season, which is nice, though his stats are already maxed out. He has very secure hands, and this is the most players that have ever wanted to transfer away from NKU in one season. We've been trying to build up a team of guys that don't want to leave. We try to recruit players that aren't going to want to leave in the future. When they care about playing time, though, and they don't get it, I can't blame them for trying to find a better spot to play. At least we were able to get Elijah to return. He was a 4-star corner for us. Graduation side of things, I don't know if any of these players will get drafted. Quentin Reddish was the only one that did, and we really need to figure out how we're going to get some first-round picks. It would certainly help if we could sign some 4-star transfers, younger guys like Juan Falk, who have a couple years to develop. That gives us our best opportunity. By week 3, it's hard sell time. We'll have to guess which of these hard sells is going to be on these transfers, and I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, we're not going to get a player like Tyson Ford. It's just the way it goes, but getting somebody like 4-star transfer receiver Juan Falk, you should be able to tell that we got some solid guys. We actually didn't miss that much either. We signed Tyson Ford. We didn't get the 4-star running back, but that's okay. We have running backs already. Missouri took away this 3-star linebacker. Penn State took away this 3-star defensive tackle. Wisconsin wanted that corner. It is what it is. It keeps our class number smaller, and all of the 4-star transfers that we got, every one of them has star development. We actually got a top 25 class with Northern Kentucky too. I was not expecting a top 25 class, but this is just showing that we're outgrowing Conference USA. We're still just waiting on our invite to a better conference. For now, I thought I'd go a little bit more into the motivator pathway. The big one is talent developer, but we just can't unlock it. Though I am kind of curious, where's the best spot going to be to put Devin Gums, the 5-star that we brought in? I think making him a free safety is the smartest thing that we could do. We could also take Juan Falk, who just transferred in as an 84 overall. He's a gadget receiver. So if we move him over to running back, he becomes a 93, and that might be enough to be a first-round pick. With training results, he's going to be a 95 overall. Behind him is Matthew Booty, so our running back room is very, very solid. Also, Caleb Beasley is up to an 89, 90 with tactician bonuses. You all are wondering, what did Bobby Shermer get up to, though? He is sitting at an 81 right now, still worse than Mafu Ayu. But we know what this guy's skill caps look like. It's not like he's going to get much better throughout his career. I mean, he can only improve quickness and elusiveness. Meanwhile, Bobby Shermer had to improve his accuracy, which he has done. His deep throw accuracy is still only 70. There's a lot of room to grow in that department, but his quickness is maxed out. He is now 93 speed. He's going to be a monster, and our receiving core is so deep at the moment. This is really solid whenever you consider we're in Conference USA. One thing that's caused us to get this good might be the fact that I've over-recruited a little bit. We got 93 players on the roster, so I'm going to have to encourage some to transfer. That's given me a better perspective of this entire roster, where it's starting to lean a little bit more older than younger, just because we've gone after so many transfers. So we're still going to have to sign about 20 guys a year to maintain the amount of players on this team. But what you might have noticed as we were scrolling through team needs is the crazy team overall. I don't believe these calculations are correct. We're not in 96. I don't know why EA can't seem to get the overall calculations correct in Dynasty. Literally, just take the entire thing out of 14, whatever they used back then. Either way, though, whether it's correct or not, in Conference USA, I'm expecting us to just walk through this conference. If any of these teams beat us, I will be very upset. If there's any game on this schedule that we should even lose, it would either be against Cincinnati or at number 6 Notre Dame. Outside of that, we should be getting to 10 wins. And it was about time that we found somebody that was a 5-star out of the state of Kentucky. We're going to be going heavily after Jason Ringo. I think we might be able to sign him as well because it looks like nobody else wants the 5-star defensive tackle out of Louisville, Kentucky, not even the Cardinals. They've not been in a lot of recruiting battles, which has been weird. This is what the rest of our board's looking like. I have found more 4-star gyms than I have found in any other season. My favorite being Nasir Crabtree. He is not a sorry receiver like Crabtree. No, he is 95 speed. He's a speedster. He's a gym. I want him. And to open up this season, we're playing the Bearcats, who are a 58 overall. That's about the overall that every single team in our conference is going to be. So if I were to just compare our roster over to theirs, you would see the difference. It's a massive drop-off. We basically have 15 to 20 overall players better at every single position. For us to lose one of those games would be a massive upset. It's the reason that our championship contender is dropping by winning. And I am excited to see what happens against rival Cincinnati. We are getting a little bit of a scare here because we only have an 8-point lead. They drop it in the end zone. And our Stadium Pulse is maxed out. Will it ever be a top 25 place to play? Absolutely not. But Stadium Pulse maxed out. Hopefully gonna get that stop. They've now had back-to-back drops, and on 3rd and goal, look at that pressure. Here we are setting up to clinch this win over our rivals. All we have to do is not give it up, make the tackle, wrap up in time. It is exactly what I was hoping to see, though there's a long year in front of us if we're only winning by 8. We sure did not dominate Cincinnati the way I was hoping that we would have. And unfortunately, what I discovered after the Liberty game was Ohio State's taken a massive leap up on Nasir Crabtree. He's just going to go to their school because our hard sell is not good enough. After taking down the Flames 41-24, we'd go on to win at Western Kentucky, win at FIU, who was 4-0 at the time, and then we had a bye week before we get into this tougher slate that is coming up. First, we run into Missouri State, and the Bears could ruin a massive visit week for us. We have so many players that are going to be on campus. But like I said, our team's so much better than the other teams in our conference that if we lose, it's going to be coaching malpractice. A lot of guys want to transfer even after a win, though. I think that's the most concerning part to me. We beat them 45-24. We also got a playing style deal breaker on Sean Leonard. So Louisville, the school that I said wasn't going after any prospects taking them from us, is probably going to win that battle, but at least we signed Taylor Tatum in the same week, plus some other gyms. Up at the top of our board, Notre Dame has entered the battle, but we should be able to close out on Jason Ringo. Seth Barnes is going to Ohio State. I might as well just remove him now. Ohio State took a lot of prospects from us, so did Michigan. I'm not sure why I thought we could out-recruit them with Northern Kentucky, but we're about to play Notre Dame, so this is a chance to take our program to another level. Headed into it, besides Jamarco Sidney having a broken collarbone, our entire team's healthy. And as we take this snap in a low stance on 3rd and 6, I can't believe what position we're in. Bobby Shermer had nowhere to run there. The stadium is super loud, but we can settle for 3 and go up by 6 points. Currently, all we have to do is play defense for a minute, and they took out the kick return for whatever reason. Notre Dame needs 90 yards in 54 seconds. I think we can trust our defense here. And after spiking the ball, they're able to get off a quick throw on 3rd and 1. Stanley Swift, Notre Dame's quarterback, has thrown 2 picks though, so I wouldn't be very shocked if this game ended on a 3rd interception. He's thrown for no touchdowns either. That's what's been holding back the Irish, but can we please wrap up here? Do not knock him out of bounds. It looks like he wasn't out of bounds, so they're still gonna have to spike the ball. 11 seconds left. I think I've set like 6 or 7 here. It got the pressure it needed. Good coaching decisions. 8 seconds left now. Is Notre Dame going to be able to answer back? All we have to do is swat this one, boys. That was close. Northern Kentucky is on the brink of the biggest win in program history. The biggest chance for us to potentially get to the playoff this year. We need a ranked win, and all we had to do was knock it away. Wait, there's a flag. It's against us. Don't start celebrating. Do not celebrate. This game is still not over. Stanley Swift has 1 shot to the end zone. Notre Dame only needs 16 yards. This cannot be it for the Norse. Come on. Play good defense. We sent 6. There's not many guys in coverage. Great play. That stressed me out. I thought we were about to get mossed for the loss, but we have come in on the road. Notre Dame was not a challenge for us. South Bend did not have a loud enough crowd to prevent us from winning. And if I scroll down in the polls, you're going to see that Notre Dame is still ranked above us with 3 losses, which is crazy, but at least we have made it here. Keep in mind, though, that's the media poll. What do the coaches have to say? Is it any different? See, the coaches actually know ball. They watch the games. They would never do something like ranking USF under Florida after USF went into their place and won. EA has somehow gotten the poll system so realistic to real life. I'm impressed by that. Looks like Jason Ringo is still going to choose us over them. I mean, we just beat the Fighting Irish. For some of these other guys on our board we're going after later, I'm guessing Ohio State's going to pull away. We have Chuck Licata's interest unlocked already, which is helpful, so we can immediately start hard selling. We're not going to have a period where we're incorrect. But at the end of the day, compared to the larger programs, our school grades don't stack up that well. We better not lose another game in the regular season. Well, there's 5-star Jason Ringo committing, so it's another season where we're having success getting 5 stars. He's from Louisville, Kentucky, though. He just wanted to stay in the state. As for our record, we're sitting at 11-0. These highly ranked guys would just prefer to play for the Norse. Final week of the season, we're just going to sim past this. They're 2-9. And with Juan Falk having 165 yards on the ground, I think we're good. There's our spot in the conference championship again. FIU is ranked just like we are. But they didn't go 12-0, so they don't get to be sitting inside the top 12. They finished 10-2 with losses to teams such as us, which makes sense, by 24 points, and then Middle Tennessee. And I thought we might as well see if we have anybody in the Heisman race. We don't. I find that very disrespectful as well, because currently Juan Falk is averaging almost 2 touchdowns per game. He is 1,660 yards, but this is nothing compared to what Genty put up stat-wise, and he didn't win the Heisman. So maybe we just got to look at it from the fact that the committee understands and the game understands that we're playing a pretty weak schedule. When it comes to this game, I will say, it's been unlike last year. Will Wilson has kept his team in it for the most part. Not picking up that 4th down really hurt them, though. They weren't going to come back down by 10. He put up a good fight. He was the one player on that team I was worried about last season, same as this year. Once head coach Willie Simmons dapped up our QB, though, he knew we had the real deal. FIU has been improving, just not as fast as we have. San Diego State had the Heisman winning quarterback. Our playoff spot is going to take us against the Seminoles. And I can basically guarantee this current roster is not winning 4 games in a row there, which is why this recruiting class is so important, because we have to keep on bringing in high-level players to Northern Kentucky. As you can see, there's 1 4-star we could still win out on. Penn State beat us out for a 3-star, but we won a lot of the battles I wanted. We also have our first elite development player. It's on the center from Pennsylvania, and then the defensive tackle from Louisville, Kentucky, 5-star elite dev. Jason Ringo is going to be extremely talented in the future. We're averaging 44 points per game this year. But can we do that on the road headed into Florida State? I'm not really sure. We don't have anybody on the injury report. Florida State has a couple of guys, but nobody major. And Bobby Shermer had a really good season for us. He had 35 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, not making many mistakes, also rushing for 543 yards on the ground. Of course, Juan Falk got a lot more yards. But then Matthew Booty, I noticed this. He's not happy with his current playing time, which I can understand. He's a 91 overall, and he's our backup, so he's going to transfer. That's not exactly looking ideal for the outlook of NKU football. Raphael Lawton was our #1 receiver. He's about to crack 1,000 yards. Lex Cyrus, he's #2. And then tight end Luke Harpring was up there at #3. We spread the ball out really well, though, even to our 4th receiver, Tyrone Westfall. So I hope that we can do that at Florida State. It's not been too hard to dominate in our conference, but once we have to start playing bigger programs, winning at their stadium consistently, not just a one-off time at Notre Dame, that's where it's going to take a real challenge in this rebuild. I think year over year, maintaining our roster is going to be tough. I hate this 3rd down play call. We just ran it for no reason, which means now on 3rd and 1, we're going to need a big defensive stop. They got guys in motion. I think they're just going to run it, but they pass out to the flat. We can make this tackle in time. The good news from there is they punted it back to us. We took it. We drove down the field. But Bobby Shermer is only thrown for 146 yards in this game, and he gets his first touchdown. Now it's going to be on our defense to hang on. 90 seconds, 3 timeouts. The Seminoles definitely have their opportunity to work, and injury timeouts are going to hurt us. Hopefully, though, we can start to generate some pressure and force them to make some mistakes. That's exactly what has happened here. They still have those timeouts, though. So I can't sit here and brag about the fact that we're going to win a playoff game on the road until we get a 1st down. Juan should be the best running back in the country, though, which is why I'm surprised we're not going to use him on the ground. I think there's a way for me to actually go in coach mode and figure out how I can call plays, which would be sick. If I ever do another rebuild where I can't play the games, I think that's how I got to do it. That'd be neat. I would like to think that my play calling would be better than what the computer's doing. That 1st down, though, that's going to do it. We're going to be able to win our first playoff game with the Norse, and we're only 4 seasons in, I'm pretty sure. So that's a shock to see Northern Kentucky not only make it here, but win a playoff game. The last time I rebuilt a small school, it was Maine, and I remember it took so many seasons to finally have success. But I do think I set some restrictions on who I was able to recruit. That obviously makes a major difference. If I look at the rest of the teams left in this playoff, Alabama's the only one, maybe USC as well, that really scares me. So let's just see what happens in the Rose Bowl against the Trojans, who are coming in as a 91 overall. This is a huge stage for us to even be playing on in the first place. And Juju Lewis transferred over from Colorado to the Trojans, but this is what he has left them with. 30-13, 2 minutes left, 4th and 9. He's calling out some audibles. Is it going to make a difference? I'm not sure. He slings it, and we knock the ball loose. Micah Strickland with the blow is going to send us on to the semifinals. If he can blow guys like that consistently, we might just win a championship this year. Bobby Shermer has set the single-season passing touchdowns record here at Northern Kentucky. I think he's set a lot of records. It's just mixed in with the records of the school that we replaced, which is why Ben Roethlisberger is in our current record book. I'm not sure why they didn't get that right. Look at this, though. There are only 4 players that now want to transfer. And our playoff matchup is going to be against Pittsburgh. We are literally just 2 games away from being able to win the entire thing. That has caught me completely off guard, but we're on a solid run. We're undefeated, and now we're going to be going up against a 91 overall Panther roster. I'm going to be honest, I thought Pittsburgh was going to be like an 81 overall. I never see them develop this well in Dynasty. And so what I was going to say was I guess we could factor in that they're coming off of a national championship. But look at what they have done. This team is genuinely no good. We're up 30-0 in the 3rd quarter. I think we're about to settle for 3. But we have no reason to be aggressive because they literally cannot score on us. By the time that they figured out how to move the ball, it was far too late. Our Cinderella run is 1 win away from winning it all. But we are going to have to face off against #1 Alabama. Not the same Alabama that Nick Saban had, though. That's at least what people have been saying recently, though I'm not sure if that has any merit at all. We're about to find out how good they are. They're #1 in the country. They're coming off an SEC championship. They're clearly very talented. But Northern Kentucky is also kind of talented. They've done better than we ever thought that they would. We have 2,000 rushing yards on Juan Falk now, and he's about to face a 99 overall team for the first time. This game is taking place in the great city of Tampa, Florida. I'm hoping that we came prepared, that we got some life to us. And that's exactly what happened. We've been in front this entire game with less than 3 minutes left. We're up 23-17. Tommy Timmerman, Alabama's quarterback, has thrown 3 interceptions as well. He's been a big problem for them. Our defense has also contributed to that. And on the other side of this 2-minute timeout, we're 2 minutes away from a national championship. Come on, let's keep getting pressure, boys. Do not let Tommy run. It's not like he's had a great day on the ground. 14 rushes, 14 yards, but he's going to float it over the middle, and we're going to get our hands on it. We're going to return it to the 43. I can't tell if that's Micah Strickland or not, but I'm pretty sure it is, and what a play from the junior. Now, we need to get in field goal range first before I'll feel like we could actually close out this game. Matthew Booty is not who we want taking carries right now. We want to keep it, and I think that will do it. All we have to do is just take a QB kneel. And to my surprise, we've won it all with Northern Kentucky in 4 years. I've done better with Northern Kentucky than I do in most of my 5-year rebuilds. I'm like sitting here thinking back and reflecting on what all did we do that had that much success. I guess through the transfer portal, we were able to find a player like Juan Falk. He came over from Louisville, so he was already in the state of Kentucky, and he made this team so much better, but we had to move him to running back from wide receiver. At receiver, he was pretty effective there too. I'm just going to let him go ahead and go on to the NFL draft as a junior because he's projected in the 1st round. I think we still play through another season too. We can't just end this at 17-0. We have to see if we can finish 34-0. As for some of our graduates, Garrett Sexton is going to be a 2nd-round pick, so that's not going to get us 2 first-round picks. It is unfortunate to see. And when it comes to convincing some of these other guys to stay around, Mafu Ayu just wants to sit on the bench and collect another trophy at some point. We're going to find out, though, if next year we can have the same type of success without having a running back that is this good. I mean, his stats as a running back aren't even that crazy. More so from a receiving back perspective, he's a monster. But I think that fit in really well with our scheme. These were the playbooks that I was running in Sim. When it comes to this game, I've never used either of those, but that really worked for this rebuild. As you can see, 1st-round pick, only getting 1 of them. So I think instead of going down the talent developer pathway, what we're going to do instead is spend the 30 points it costs to unlock Tactician and then max this out. I really wanted to do something different for this video, But EA makes it so hard to unlock some of these other skill trees that you're never going to be able to achieve them. Like even Program Builder, I think after winning a national championship, there is no reason I shouldn't be able to go down this pathway. Even CEO, it takes 2 natties. By that point, you're basically done with your file. I know some people stay on the same file for longer, but I don't. DJ Pickett is a great option for us, by the way. He is a 6'4" corner that I think we could move to receiver or running back too. He's just a beast. I'm not sure what our odds are going to be of signing all of these 4-star transfers I've put on here, by the way, but I thought we might as well throw 13, see how many we can get. Coming off of a national championship, I feel like this is a pretty enticing place to be, but then I look at our stadium atmosphere and it's not as good. Just based off of the way things are looking, I think we're going to be able to get like 4 or 5 players, but you're going to see a lot of battles where I've even been able to get the hard sell correct and the other pitches are just doing better than ours. Those are going to be out of my control, but as long as we pick up a couple more, our team's going to be in a great spot. You can see that we lost about half of those battles, even on DJ Pickett. But for the class that we actually brought in, we were able to add in 6 more transfers, and that is going to get us our highest ranked class yet, coming in at number 15. Another thing we could always do is just take one of these receivers and move them over to running back again, which would help. But I think Matthew Booty's going to start over this kid anyway. We'll see how they progress. I also like the idea of taking Tanner Turch, a 6'2", 195-pound receiver, over to tight end, just because I think he'll be a good target there. We've recruited Sean DeVry, but I don't know how well he's going to get. I think no matter what, this team is just going to be ridiculous because it is clearly better than what we were working with last season. We've taken a massive step forward into building some really good depth. And I can't believe how well everybody's developed. I didn't even unlock the talent developer side of things, which I wanted to get. Bobby Shermer couldn't max out his accuracy, unfortunately. But I don't even think I need to encourage our lowest overall players to transfer. I'm like 99% sure it's going to be a 99 overall team. And I'm hoping that we go back to back and we can end this video with 2 championships, 17-0 both times. I won't even change the schedule that it's going to give us. We'll play at number 3, Ole Miss. This is what the rest of it's going to look like. Easy opponents. We aren't going to have anybody in the Heisman race, though, while Will Wilson stays at FIU for another season, and he's still there. He should not be a problem for us, though. We better still run the conference. And I like to see that Bobby Shermer is having to play the game in the first week. We beat Marshall 59-6, so after we face Ole Miss, we can basically just sim to the end of the season. But this one road game is the one that scares me. It's the one that makes me think everything could go south. See, it doesn't matter we're coming off a national championship, and this would be a loss to a really highly ranked team. If we lose this game, we might not be able to make the playoffs at 11-1. The rest of our wins just wouldn't be good enough, which is why this 2-minute drill down by 4 is the most important 2-minute drill in program history. Maybe that's a little bit of a stretch, but we really do need to figure out how we're going to come back. And on 3rd and 6, we're just going with a screenplay where we've gotten enough. Bobby Shermer is best when he's mobile. He is 99 throwing the run. He stood in the pocket to go deep here, and we got an open receiver that brings it in. Ole Miss thought they were going to take us down, but we're back on top, and this stadium is silent. They're then going to just hand the football off. I couldn't tell you why they do that. They have to know that time is very important, though they've given that running back 27 carries in this game. Maybe that's how they feel the most comfortable moving the ball. But there it is. They've used their final timeout. A sack would be massive for us, though it is starting to look like overtime. 20 more yards and it's definitely headed there, which is why we gotta get some pressure. We're just playing our coverage way too deep and giving up these underneath throws. They're gonna break a tackle to get like another few yards, though they're scrambling to spike the ball, and they've got to be in field goal range. Here we go. I'm assuming we're gonna head to overtime. It's a slowed kick, and is that gonna miss? It's gonna miss. They missed the kick. They did everything right on this drive, all for it to just be a shank on a 53-yard field goal. And that was the one challenging game on the Norse's schedule. By the time I check back in with you all, if we're not 12-0, it's going to be really odd because we are the best team in the country, in my opinion. The great thing about college football, though, is the best team doesn't always win, which is why I couldn't guarantee an undefeated season. But when we're playing in what's probably the worst conference in the country, I'm not shocked that that's what happened. We've made it to the conference championship against 7-5 Jacksonville State, and the Gamecocks just can't take us down. I mean, we had the Maxwell Award winner on our team. Matthew Booty rushed for 1,451 yards. We don't know how many touchdowns because it would rather show yards per carry, but he's going to take home the Heisman too, so it had to be a lot of tutties. He won basically every award that you could. Then Tanner Turch, the receiver we moved over to tight end, was able to win the John Mackey Award, best tight end in the country. We got Michigan. But why are we seeded at 11? See, this is what I don't get. We just won the national championship. We've won at least 30 straight games, and we're currently sitting at number 11 when we should be much higher up. I know our schedule is weak and Ole Miss turned out to not be a great opponent, but we need a little bit more love from the polls. Bobby Shermer finished with 31 passing touchdowns, over 4,000 yards. Solid season out of him. But Matthew Booty, 36 touchdowns, no wonder he won the Heisman. Getting that 5-star to commit really made a big difference. I can't believe that Pittsburgh didn't go after him, especially since they'd won a national championship and they were good enough to land him. He was from Pennsylvania, but he just decided that he wanted to play for the Norse. Now he's going to go out, hopefully help us keep up our 49 point per game average against Michigan, and maybe get us another championship. It's very possible, but our pathway might be a little bit more difficult. I also wanted to test something, coach mode, where you get to call the play and then it gets run and you get to spectate it. It's now called auto pass. You have to back out of Dynasty, go into the main menu, and then turn it on from here. We're gonna see if it works. And I think all you have to do is just snap the ball and then it'll take over and you watch. It definitely looks odd, but we have a passing play here. So we'll see if he ends up throwing the football. He does, and we make the catch. So as we're down by 8 points, we can change up the camera angle, and we can just watch. Get the throw out. Get the throw out. You know, maybe that was a fluke. Maybe coach mode will still work the way I'm hoping it does, as that's another pass. I'm not touching any buttons. I have to remember, though, that I have to call the plays for us now. I'm not just spectating, and it's gonna be a 4th down. Even worse, though, Bobby Shermer's not getting up. He's stuck on the ground. So Mafu Ayu makes a return for this play. He's out there on 4th and 3. We have him on the team to send it deep, and it's gonna be dropped. It was in the hands of Tyrone Westfall as well, the 4-star that we recruited at the beginning. With no timeouts, Northern Kentucky's gonna lose, and that's gonna be it. It's really unfortunate that we couldn't go back-to-back, but you know what? I'm blaming part of that on the fact that we had to play on the road at Michigan after going undefeated. Still, though, this was an incredible 5-year run for Northern Kentucky, and the team that we built was extremely talented, which you can tell just off of the fact of how many players were able to get drafted on to the NFL. That's gonna do it for this rebuild, though. Let me know down in the comments what creative team, what FCS school, what FBS school, whatever school you want to see. Let me know who you want me to rebuild next, and make sure you like the video while checking out some of my other content.